Hi everyone, my name is Matt, and on behalf of everyone at the Susan B. Anthony Project, we would like to welcome you to our 32nd annual Domestic Violence Awareness Month Vigil. This year's vigil will feel a little different because we cannot be all together, but we're still hoping to capture some of the connection that we usually have. Please feel free to reach out to our advocates at Susan B. Anthony Project if you would like to talk about anything. That phone number is 860-482-7133. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, also known as DVAM. Domestic violence is a pervasive problem that impacts everyone. On average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. During 1 year, this equates to more than 10 million women and men. Raising awareness is a crucial part of anti-violence work. Today's vigil is one of the ways that Susan B. Anthony Project is recognizing all survivors and victims of domestic violence. Susan B. Anthony Project is displaying our clothesline project at Beardsley Public Library in Winston and Goshen Public Library in Goshen throughout the month of October. These t-shirts were made by victims and survivors, and it's a way for them to represent a portion of their story. Behind me, we have a display of shoes. Each pair of shoes represents one child that stayed in our shelter over the past year. This equates to 47 pairs of shoes. I would now like to invite Mayor Eleanor Carbone from the City of Torrington to read a proclamation on Domestic Violence Awareness.
So this is that year when we're facing a global pandemic and finding different ways to serve our public, serve the people that have significant needs in the public, and especially those family members and individuals that are struggling with domestic violence. It's really important for us to remember that this is a month where we are raising awareness and supporting the agencies that are helping these members of our community. So I have a proclamation that I do wish to read for this virtual awareness event. Whereas the designation of October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month shines a light on an extremely serious and difficult problem prevalent today in our society and our communities, and whereas it gives us the opportunity to learn how to recognize what constitutes domestic violence, how we can help those in abusive situations, and how to help prevent domestic violence. And whereas the effects of domestic violence on an individual can be traumatic, and the physical and emotional pain and anxiety everlasting. Whereas the number of occurrences of domestic violence is staggering and the impact is without boundaries. It does not discriminate. It includes women and men, children of every age, race, ethnicity, economic background, sexual orientation, and belief. And whereas in 2019, in our city alone, the Susan B. Anthony Project provided safe housing for 45 women and 47 children in their shelter and transitional housing programs, helped 1,903 men, women, and children in crisis, provided educational programs to 4,464 children and teens, and an additional 849 adult community members, and advocated in court for 1,728 victims of domestic violence. And whereas the Domestic Violence Awareness Month also provides us an opportunity to recognize and appreciate the advocates, victim service providers, and organizations who work so tirelessly on a daily basis, helping individuals subjected to domestic violence obtain some normalcy in their lives and begin the healing process. Therefore, I, Eleanor Carbone, Mayor of the City of Torrington, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2020 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I urge all citizens to support and participate in the scheduled activities and programs sponsored by the Susan B. Anthony Project, in witness whereof I have set my hand and seal of the City of Torrington.
Thank you, Mayor Carbone. I would now like to introduce Cheryl Wallace, who will be reading our call to action this year.
Everyone deserves a life free from the threat of physical and psychological harm. Tragically, far too many are deprived of this right by perpetrators of domestic violence. During National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we want to recognize, honor, and support the victims and survivors of this abuse. Domestic violence is an issue that impacts everyone in some form, whether it is you, a parent worried about your child's relationship, or a friend concerned about something you've witnessed, or the 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men who experience this trauma firsthand. Domestic violence impacts us all. Domestic violence isn't just physical violence towards someone you have a relationship with. It's verbal, with constant put-downs and comments aimed at diminishing someone's self-worth. It's gaslighting, making someone question things they know to be true. It's getting someone to be dependent, so no matter how poorly they are treated, they will need their abuser or feel like they do. Domestic violence doesn't always leave scars visible to others, but it always leaves those scars for those who have survived it. We owe it to ourselves, our community, and our future generations to add a little more light and make this world a little less dark.
Thanks, Cheryl. Up next, we have Jean Fusco, Executive Director of Susan B. Anthony Project, and she will present our Susan B. Anthony Project Community Awards to community partners who have supported our programs throughout the years and gone above and beyond in support of our clients.
Hi, each year I have the pleasure of being able to welcome, thank, and acknowledge the many collaborations from within our community that support the work of Susan B. Anthony Project. This evening, I'd like to thank Emma Skinner. Emma has been an avid supporter as it relates to bringing community education about domestic and sexual violence to staff and campers at Camp Rising Star. She is always excited for her staff to learn new ways in which they may identify suspected interpersonal violence in keeping kids safe and bringing programs that address healthy relationships and also identifying trusted adults in kids' lives. Emma invited Susan B. Anthony Project community educators to participate at camp during this past summer, where COVID required increased protections so that kids and staff would remain well. We are grateful for the long partnership of Camp Rising Star and Emma's facilitated collaborations between our programs. Thank you, Emma. We also acknowledge Tanya Dowd. Tanya is the owner of Lily and Vine Florist in Torrington. Tanya was very supportive of Susan B. Anthony Project last November when our longtime wreath supplier called just a few days before wreath delivery to say he was unable to fulfill our order. Tanya's support assured logistical help in order that our wreath pickup for those whom had pre-ordered could be met. In addition, as a major fundraiser of our organization, we were able to meet our financial goals. Tanya remains active with us at Susan B. Anthony Project and is a business sponsor through our HERO program. And Arlene Bagelman. Arlene donated her time and talent for a second year to bring Eve Ensler's mega hit, The Vagina Monologues, to the Warner Theater stage. Each performance was well attended, with one of them being sold out completely. The success of these shows brought not only critical funds to support victims of domestic and sexual violence, as importantly, it brought awareness of Susan B. Anthony Project's services. I want to thank Emma, Tanya, and Arlene, and so many other community collaborators for your support this year.
Thank you, Jean. For the next portion of our vigil, Remember My Name, it's one of the ways in which we honor Connecticut residents who have lost their lives to domestic violence.
Please remember an unnamed woman from Bethel, Connecticut.
Pierre Mason, a woman from Meriden. She was killed on August 26, 2019.
Please remember Thomas Connolly, a 63-year-old man from Sherman. He was killed in his home by his husband on March 20th, 2019.
Please remember Janet Alvaro Alvarez, a 26-year-old woman from Waterbury. She was strangled to death by her boyfriend on November 12th, 2019.
Please remember Monica Dominguez, a woman from Cheshire. She was stabbed 30 times by her husband on September 11, 2019.
Please remember Catherine Taylor, a 70-year-old woman from Fairfield. She was shot by her ex-husband on February 3rd, 2019.
Please remember Brandia Irving, a 41-year-old woman from Stonington. She was killed in her home by her longtime boyfriend on November 30th, 2019.
Please remember Alice Figueroa, a 27-year-old woman from New Britain. She was shot by her boyfriend on February 4th, 2019.
Please remember Christine Holloway, a 43-year-old woman from Ansonia. She was killed by her boyfriend on December 2nd, 2019.
Please remember Natalie Feliciano, a 33-year-old woman from Waterbury. She was killed by her boyfriend on April 29th, 2019.
Please remember LaRonda Jones, a 48-year-old woman from Waterbury. She was shot by her husband on November 21st, 2019.
Please remember Thomas Connolly, a 63-year-old man from Sherman. He was killed in his home by his husband on March 20th, 2019.
Please remember Jennifer Doulis, a 50-year-old woman from New Canaan. She went missing on May 24th, 2019, following a series of domestic violence court cases.
We have now reached the Speak Out portion of our vigil. Speak Out this year is going to be a living document. Some of our advocates will be reading some poems or short stories that they have connected. If you would like to add your own, please contact our main office at 860-489-3798, and you can ask for me, Matt, and we can talk about how we can add your story to this video.
This is a poem by Christy Ann Martine. Like a flower in the desert, I had to grow, in the cruelest weather, holding on to every drop of rain just to stay alive. But it's not enough just to survive. I want to bloom beneath the blazing sun and show you all of the colors that live inside of me. I want you to see what I can become.
This is a poem by Tracy K. Smith. An old story. We were made to understand it would be terrible. Every small want, every niggling urge, every hate, swollen to a kind of epic wind. Livid the land and ravaged like a rageful dream. The worst in us having taken over and broken the rest utterly down. A long age passed, when at last we knew how little would survive us, how little we had mended or built that was not now lost. Something large and old awoke. And then our singing brought on a different manner of weather. Then animals long believed gone crept down from trees. We took new stock of one another. We wept to be reminded of such color.
I would now like to introduce Amanda Moreau, who will read for us some ways that you can get involved.
As Domestic Violence Awareness Month comes to an end, let us all continue to do our parts to make the world a safer for our family members, colleagues, neighbors, and the next generation. Here are some suggestions of what you can do. Continue to bring up the issues of controlling partners, encourage healthy relationships, and talk about what safety at home means wherever and whenever possible. You never know who you might reach and whose safety you might increase. Never tolerate a friend or relative belittling or controlling their partner. Speak up and tell your friend or relative that that what they are doing is not okay. Follow Susan B. Anthony Project on Facebook and Twitter for updates about how you can make the difference and get involved. Change your social media profile photos by adding a frame for Domestic Violence Awareness Month to show what you stand with the Susan B. Anthony Project as we remember those who have lost their lives and celebrate those who have survived. Make donations to the Susan B. Anthony Project in honor of the people in your life who have been impacted by domestic violence. Along with all the virtual response services, vital response services, the Susan B. Anthony Project also offers robust prevention education to equip future generations with healthy relationship tools to decrease the number of domestic violence situations. If you would like more information about this topic, call our main office at 860-489-3798. Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. In closing, I would like to thank everyone who watched tonight's vigil in hopes of raising awareness, and those of you who continue to support our agency's mission of safety, healing, and growth. Thank you.